Here.
Vice Chair Jung.
Here.
Commissioner Jameson.
Here.
Commissioner Shear.
Here.
Commissioner Cooley.
Here.
Commissioners Hill.
Here.
And Commissioner Rowe.
Here.
Chair Lurie, you have a quorum.
Thank you. This is a time reserved for public comment. Citizens may address members of the Human Services Advisory Commission. This public comment time is reserved for citizen comments regarding non-agendized items. Arizona state law prohibits the commissioners from discussing or taking action on any item, and testimony is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Do we have any comment cards?
No, we do not.
Okay, so moving forward, could I get a motion to approve the minutes from the July 24th meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, and a roll call vote?
Chair Lurie.
Yes?
Vice Chair Jung.
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson.
Yes.
Commissioner Shear.
Yes, and may I just say, our minutes are always really, really well done, so thank you.
Commissioner Cooley.
Yes.
Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe.
Yes.
Okay. I was just going to make a comment before I move forward that I guess the screens up here are a new thing, and I'm like, I think I'm not tall enough to look over it, but particularly since the very first speaker is Tracy Weiss from the Family Resource Center, who's going to talk about activities and what's going on. Tracy, you're up.
Good evening, Chair Lori and members of the Commission. So I'm going to be presenting about the Scottsdale Family Resource Center tonight. So the Scottsdale Family Resource Center is located at Paiute Neighborhood Center and has been supporting families with children from birth to 5 since 2017. The FRC is grant funded through First Things First, and as Arizona's early childhood agency, First Things First partners with families and communities to give all Arizona children the opportunity to arrive to kindergarten healthy and ready to succeed. Next slide. One of the ways the FRC supports families is through providing referrals for services. Families often need assistance with economic supports and family stability, healthcare, childcare, and early education, community and social supports, among so much more. In fiscal year 25, the FRC provided 768 referrals to families of young children, as well as served 2,995 families. So far for fiscal year, the FRC has provided 80+ referrals to families. We also provide to Scottsdale's families through our emergency pantry as well as programming. With our emergency pantry, we can provide Scottsdale families in need with diapers, formula, baby food, and baby bags, and new car seats. Paiute has a certified car seat technician that can properly install new or used car seats. All formula, diapers, and car seats have been donated. Just recently, North Scottsdale United Methodist Church did a diaper drive and donated over 2,000 diapers, and Partners for Paiute generously donated new car seats. In fiscal year 25, we provided 238 programs with 2,381 adults and 2,400 children in attendance. Programs include parenting workshops, parent-child interactions, parent support groups, and events. We provided many parenting workshops by collaborating with agencies such as Child Crisis Arizona, and you can see some of the programs that they provide at our center. University of Arizona Cooperative Extension, which unfortunately just lost their funding and will be closing. and Scottsdale Unified School District. These workshops help to provide our families with useful parenting skills as well as ideas for healthy living. A few of the adult-child interaction programs that we were able to provide included Arizona Science on Wheels with the Arizona Science Center, as well as some programs we share with the Scottsdale Public Library. Some of the in-house programs include our Crafty Storytime, Music and Movement, Once Upon a Cuento, which is a bilingual story time, and Welcome to Our Scottsdale Neighborhood, where we show our families various places that they can take their children and enjoy in the neighborhood. Our newest program, the Little Reader Book Club, was created using a generous private donation in hopes of supporting early literacy in South Scottsdale. This fun interactive book club includes 7 weeks of programming with 6 hardback books that children can enjoy and add to their home library. Our parent support group, Cafecito, helps build community. Parents work together to share in activities such as cooking, crocheting, couponing, scrapbooking, and soon-to-be jewelry making. As part of our outreach efforts, we also have participated in many fun family events. Our families have joined us on field trips at McCormick, Stillman, and Paiute Parks, as well as met Smokey the Bear, Scottsdale Fire Department, Crisis Canines, and local authors. Next slide. As we move forward, we are looking to build new partnerships and create new opportunities. We are working on 2 parent surveys, one which gives us experience feedback, another on protective factors that are supported through attendance at our FRC. We are also looking to collaborate with Wolf Trap in providing artist-run programs as well as implementing creative movement, which is partially supported through Partners for Paiute. Finally, we are looking to connect with CompuDot, an organization that provides refurbished laptops, support, and internet to families in need, as well as writing a grant application to the Scottsdale Leadership Project, Lead It Forward, in hopes of creating an outdoor play area for our children. We have so much to look forward to, and thank you.
I'm so pleased that the city continues to support the Family Resource Center, and thank you for the great work that you and your team do there. I want to turn it over to the group. One of the comments on one of your slides was facilitating economic support, and is that done through? Well, let me just ask, how do you support the people economically?
So some of the needs that we're able to support them with our emergency pantry, but we also have a list of partners that we work with that we can refer our families to, as well as at Paiute, we have our caseworkers that if they need further assistance that we're not able to provide, we can help them with that.
Okay, very good.
Yep. And we also have a whole network of family resource centers that are throughout our entire state that we also collaborate with as well.
Thank you, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciated that presentation. Always do. It's great to see you and the wonderful things that happen at the Family Resource Center. I'm curious, I need a little more clarity regarding your funding. You mentioned First Things First. Is that 100% of your operating funding? I mean, can you give me an idea? And then what is the city of Scottsdale bringing to this program? I'm assuming your space and your beautiful facility, but please elaborate.
Yes. So Chair Lurie and members of the commission, we are on a 4-year grant cycle. We're on our second 4-year grant cycle with First Things First. The first one was actually 5 years because of COVID, and it's $250,000 a year, renewable each year. That provides all of the funding for the Family Resource Center other than in-kind funding and the facilities and the infrastructure that we use, as well as the support from the city of Scottsdale, like servicing our computers and things like that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jeff?
Thank you for the presentation. Very well done. A couple questions. Just a point of clarification. When you looked at parent workshops and My Plate with the University of Arizona Cooperative Extension, did I hear you right that they have lost their funding?
Yes. In around July, they were no longer going to be able to service our zip code. We were not in the zip code that they were going to be servicing. I just received an email that they learned that they were losing all of their funding, and so their program will be no longer.
Well, I'm very sorry to hear that. In terms of the materials that you distribute, like diapers and those materials, how has inflation impacted you? Are you struggling to buy as much as you could prior?
So all of those things have affected families. It's a lot more expensive to be purchasing those items, and especially with the cost of living. But for us, we have had many generous donations, and we haven't had to purchase any of those items as of yet.
Mm-hmm. Do you do diaper drives and those types of things? Yes?
Yes, so the church just did a diaper drive for us. The library has done a diaper drive for us. National Charity League has done a diaper drive for us. We have just members of the community that ask how they can donate, and so we've had very generous donations.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Tracy, thank you for a wonderful presentation. I have a question on your slide number 3, the referrals to services. Could you just draw the distinction for me of duplicated versus unduplicated services?
Yes. So we keep very close records. First things first, because they're grant funding us, they expect that we're doing what they've asked. So quarterly we report to them, and so they ask certain numbers. Duplicated would be the number. It could be the same family that receives another service. Unduplicated will be just how many families without receiving services more than one time.
Great, thank you so much.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes,
do you
from
have
the
any
ether.
Do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay, because we can't see your hand or your face. There you are.
I see. Here I am. Hi, Tracy. Thank you. Great report. Loved hearing it. Very excited about the Once Upon a Cuento bilingual reading program. I think that's excellent. Did I understand you to say that your certified car seat installer also installs used car seats?
Yes, so sometimes we have families that come in and they already have a car seat. They don't need a car seat, but they want to make sure it's installed properly. We get a lot of grandparents that need help with their car seats. They don't want their grandchild in the car seat that's not installed properly.
Is there any liability for installing a used car seat on the FRC?
So the car seat tech looks at the expiration date of the car seat, asks the specific questions, and we work with the Scottsdale Fire Department and use their recommendations. So we work together with them on that process.
Very good. I didn't know if it was like bicycle helmets, if one's dropped, it's compromised. I don't know how that applies to car seats, but that's great that you're working with the Scottsdale Fire Department. Thank you so very much.
Yes, and if we do see a car seat that is compromised or that the tech thinks is compromised, we can provide them one. Or if they're not a Scottsdale resident, we know other places that they can receive one if it's in a different city. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Great questions, and Tracy, thank you again for the great work that you and your team do there at the Family Resource Center.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Chad, I believe you are up to update us about tenant-based rental assistance, TBRA.
Presentation will also be with Jennifer Murphy, Human Services Operations Supervisor. Chair Lurie, members of the commission, obviously my name is Chad Booker and I'll be presenting on our tenant-based rental assistance program. Approximately about 3.5 years ago, we started thinking about this and officially launched in November of 2024. Next slide, please. Oh, I can do it myself. So the objective of the program is to provide tenant-based rental assistance and case management services to seniors who are at or below 30% of AMI, average medium income for Maricopa County, and their rent burden is more than 50% of their income. So if they're below 30% and they're paying more than 50% of their income to their monthly rent, that would qualify them. Obviously, they would have to be seniors as well. Current home income limit for a one-person household at 30% is $23,600. So approximately $2,000 a month. Most of our clients are well below the 30% and are well above the 50% rent burden. A quick history of the program. So the home funds that we received were approved our first round in September of 2023 by City Council. We had our first senior approved and leased up in November of 2023. In July of 2024, as of July of 2024, 7 months into it, we had 7 seniors receiving assistance. And currently we have 13 seniors receiving assistance, 1 lease with wet ink on it right now, she just signed, and then 2 additional that are either approved and looking for a unit or are going through they've been approved but haven't got all the way through to where they're looking for a unit. Max participation for the program is 15 clients at a time based on the budget and our 2-year participation threshold. So with TBRA funds, you are allowed to, the maximum you can stay in a unit or receive assistance is 2 years. The original goal of the program was to bridge our clients into the Housing Choice Voucher Program. Recently, we have received guidance from HUD that potentially we will no longer be able to do that based on a lot of different things. So we have kind of moved the program around and we're preparing our residents to, when they are off the program, they can be self-sufficient. Just an example of our rent and subsidies, what the city or what the program is paying, what our tenants are paying. So average monthly income for our tenants is $1,177. Average rent portion they pay is $257. Average subsidy, what the program is paying, about $1,200 for total rent, right around $1,600. So for June of 2025, with our total rents paid for our 12 clients, we paid approximately $15,000 in that month for 12 clients. If we push that up to 15 clients, which is our goal, the maximum number per month, that would go up to approximately $18,500 per month. You stretch that out for a year, that's $222,000 per year to run the program. We're funded with 2 fiscal years so far, with another pending here in September to where we could potentially move that program and keep going for many years, and also future years if funding accepts it. So it's a little tricky to get the full range of the budget and how far we go, because we are doing it, it's a 2-year program. They get recertified every year within the program, so their rents, their subsidies are always going up and down. Also, depending on where they're living in the city, their rent could be higher or lower. So it is a tricky matrix to try and figure out what that magic number of clients we can keep at the same time and also keep everyone's housed and their rent paid throughout the 2-year term. So another key component of our TBRA program is case management. All of our clients are required to meet with human services caseworkers quarterly. I can tell you right now, they meet with them a lot more than quarterly, probably weekly or daily. They provide support, case management, and financial stability and counseling to ensure the seniors remain stably housed when the TIBA rental assistance ends. As of August 1st, 2025, our human service caseworkers have provided 295 hours of case management services to our clients. Now, this is potential clients. These are follow-up clients. They talk to them through the whole eligibility process. They help them get all their documents together. Jennifer's going to go into a lot more detail for this, but without the senior service caseworkers, there's no TIBA program. So this is an Human Service Center program. We have people from the Housing Community Assistance Office, both in the Housing Choice Voucher program and in the CDBG program working on this. And then we also have our caseworkers from Granite Reef and Via Linda working together for this one program. I will now turn it over to Jennifer Murphy to go in more depth about the case management services offered.
Thank you, Chad. Good evening, Chair Lori and members of the Commission. Tonight, I'll share with you a little bit more about the case management services that my staff do for the TIBA participants, and I'd like to share a few success stories we've seen with the TIBA program. Case management services have proven vital to the success of the clients participating in the TIBA program. These services go far beyond simply helping someone pay rent. They provide structure, guidance, support that empower individuals to achieve long-term housing stability and personal growth. Case management is the backbone of the TIBA program, ensuring that clients not only secure housing, but maintain it and thrive within it. Here's why it's indispensable. My caseworkers assess each client's unique needs, challenges, and goals. They develop individualized service plans that guide clients towards stability and self-sufficiency. They help clients navigate lease agreements, communicate with landlords, and resolve housing-related issues. They monitor housing conditions and intervene early to prevent evictions and disruptions. They assist with budgeting, managing rent payments, and assessing benefits like Social Security, disability income, SNAP benefits. They also link clients to health care, mental health services, food assistance, transportation, and legal aid. And they ensure clients are aware of and can utilize the community resources that support their well-being. They also provide consistent, compassionate point of contact during times of crisis or transition. They help clients to rebuild confidence, set goals, and foster healthy relationships. Caseworkers track progress and adjust plans as needed, promoting independence. Chad shared in a previous slide that the TIBA program requires quarterly visits by the caseworkers. He is correct. They visit them an awful lot more than that. To ensure the success, my caseworkers meet with them in their homes at least once a month, and often many times by phone every month. So that has been a positive. Now I'd like to share with you a few of the success stories. Behind every name in the TIBA program is a story of courage, transformation, and hope. Whether it's escaping homelessness, overcoming financial hardship, or rebuilding after trauma, each participant has made meaningful strides towards stability and independence. Well, what does success look like? Well, for some, it's the first time in years that they've had a safe place to sleep. For others, it's the ability to pay their bills without fear, care for loved ones, or pursue employment to help pay their bills. And for many, it's simply the dignity of living in a place they can call their own. These victories, big and small, are the heartbeat of the TIBA program. So I'd like to share a couple of success stories. The first one is Helen, not her real name. She's a 72-year-old woman from Scottsdale who was facing a devastating turn in her life when a crippling disability severely impacted her health. As her condition worsened, she found herself unable to manage her bills, ultimately losing her apartment and her independence. With no family to turn to, Helen was forced to rely on the kindness of a friend, and she was sleeping on their couch just to stay off the streets. Despite these overwhelming challenges, Helen's resilience never wavered. When she was introduced to this program, it became her lifeline, offering not just shelter, but dignity, stability, and the tools to reclaim her autonomy. Through access to housing, healthcare support, and financial guidance, Helen has transitioned from crisis to self-sustainability. This program didn't just give Helen a roof over her head. It gave her hope, purpose, and the ability to live with pride and independence once again. Another story I'd like to highlight tonight is about John. John is an 83-year-old grandfather who found himself in a deeply painful situation. He was living with his daughter, her 2 young children, and the daughter's abusive boyfriend. As a father, John could no longer bear to witness the emotional harm and encouraged his daughter to leave the abusive situation. When she chose to stay, she eventually moved out, leaving John behind to shoulder the full burden of the apartment. Living on a fixed income from Social Security, John struggled to make ends meet. The rent far exceeded what he could afford, and he faced losing his apartment. But thanks to the support of this program, John found stability. He now lives independently, is able to pay his bills, and has regained control over his life. More than that, John has become a steady and loving presence for his grandchildren. He does help care for them and provides the nurturing environment every child deserves. And then recently, we got a thank you card in the mail from yet a third person, and I'd like to read that to you. It says, "I'm so thankful for this opportunity to be a part of this housing program. I was not able to afford an apartment, and this allows me to. Otherwise, I would be on the streets and most likely in great danger." And then very coincidentally, today, Usha brought me another card we got. And this says, "Usha, you are a beacon of light. I am so blessed to have met you at Via Linda. You helped me get into the TBRA program, which is a godsend. I am able to save money each and every month. I am in Scottsdale, and I feel very safe. I get to hear birds chirping, see wildlife, and most of all, the most beautiful sunsets. Almost forgot the mountains right across from my apartment. I will always remember your kindness. Thank you." How do I change this, Chad? Okay. Our caseworkers' support and advocacy have been the heart of this program and central to its success. And before we go to questions, I would like to acknowledge I have 2 of my superheroes here this evening, Usha Ramachandran and Joanna Michalak, who do most of the casework with the TBRA clients, and they do a phenomenal job.
Jennifer and Chad, thank you very much for the presentation. And I concur the caseworkers, the work that you do with the public, with the residents of our community are exceptional. So thank you so much for the work that you do. My concern, and I'm going to open it up for comments and questions in a moment. Chad, I think I heard you say, and I want to make sure I get this right. It's a 2-year program. At the end of that 2 years, the hope was that they would roll into a housing choice voucher. But that is no longer the case. So am I to understand at the end of the 2 years, they're just cut loose with no funding?
Chair Lori, members of the commission. So around April, we received guidance and a PHA notice in regards to the emergency EHV, emergency housing voucher, which basically was trying to do the same thing as we were with our TBER program, that you could not bridge them over based on the 2-year increment of the funding source and the intent of the program. And so we are still seeking guidance from HUD on that, because it 100% is not been confirmed, but we are, as we move forward, we are moving forward as if it is, so we could prepare our residents or our clients to have sustainable living after that, with wait lists opening up around the valley or in other states, and working on saving money and getting everything the case management has been doing, just ramped up a little bit more to ensure that there is somewhere to go after the 2 years.
Yeah, I'm concerned that they could get to the end of that 2 years and have no source of income if they're relying solely, for example, on Social Security income to afford their rent. What happens to them at the end of that 2-year period? So would appreciate if we could bring an update back to this commission when we know more. And with that, let me open it up for other comments. Did I take your thunder?
I think, Mr. Chair, you probably took all of our thunder on that one. I think we were all trying to figure out how the math worked with $1,200 average monthly income, almost the $1,600 average rent, and the goal is self-sufficiency. So something's not right with that equation.
Sheila?
Thank you. I have one easy question, I think. You referenced the 295 hours of case management services that have been provided as of August 1st. That's for what period of time?
Chair Lori, Commissioner Rowe, the members of the commission, that is from approximately October of 2023, maybe a little bit sooner than that.
Thank you.
I'm looking up at the ceiling to see if there are questions from Commissioner Cooley.
I did have one, but I think it's been answered. I was going to ask how many caseworkers we had to provide those 295 hours, but that's not going to be probably a fair question since it's from October of 23. So other than that, appreciate the news, the update, and wish we had better forecast. But thank you nonetheless.
Hi, thank you both so much. I really appreciate what you're doing. And I have a question. This might be because I'm new, but my question is, in some cases, you mentioned that people were staying in their own place and you were helping fund those locations. And other times you said we needed to find apartments for people who didn't have them. So where do you go about finding these locations for the people that are in this program?
Chair Lori, Commissioner Hill, members of the commission. Fortunately for us, within our office is our Housing Choice Voucher Program, which is very similar. So we offer courtesy property listing, which we post on websites throughout city where landlords can go in and post information when units come available. We recently went through our landlord engagement program initiatives, where we heavily recruited landlords to accept our vouchers for these type of programs. We continue to meet with the Landlord Advisory Board semi-annually, and we also have landlord events semi-annually for just retainage and also recruitment of new landlords to try and get on our programs to accept these vouchers.
Okay. Chad? Jennifer, thank you very much. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the presentation.
If I may, one more comment,
Yeah.
members of the commission. I would like to recognize another person that works in our TBER program. His name is Carlo Ruscone, and he works with the clients after they become approved and gets them eligible and helps them with the leases and getting their HAP contracts and everything else. So, thank you.
All right, moving forward, the third item on our agenda is a presentation by Mary Witkowski and Sue O. And I will confess, I asked for this to be agendized because I read the email update from the Maricopa Association of Governments about continuum of care, and I was confused. So I thought we could all benefit from some education around what continuum of care is.
Thank you, Chair Lori, Vice Chair Jung, members of the commission. My name is Sue O. I'm a human service manager. I will try my best to explain and make you less confused about the continuum of care. And I will be getting help from our interim director, Mary Witkowski, half of the presentation through. So first, I do want to start off with what Maricopa Regional Continuum of Care is. So basically, it's a community-wide initiative led by the Maricopa Association of Governments to end homelessness across the region. They coordinate with 30 homeless assistance programs across 11 agencies, including local governments like us, nonprofits, and other service providers. They mainly use data from the point-in-time count and the Homeless Management Information System, HMIS, to guide decisions. So how we collaborate with the Continuum of Care, we get a lot of shared data and resources from the Maricopa County Continuum of Care. Scottsdale contributes and benefits from regional data collection and analysis. Joint initiatives, we partner with them for programs like the Moving On program initiative to help individuals transition from supportive housing to permanent housing, often in collaboration with Scottsdale Public Housing Authority. And of course, regional planning. Scottsdale staff attend meetings. We have monthly local jurisdictional meetings, and we gather to share a lot of what's going on, what's needed, what we're seeing, what our current needs are, and how we can help each other throughout the city and Maricopa County. And we all have an input in those type of meetings. And that shapes the COC policies and funding priorities. So we don't directly receive any funding directly from the COC, and we don't apply for, and we don't plan to apply for the NOFA that's coming up, and I will kind of go into that as well. But the Maricopa County Continuum of Care does that on behalf of the City of Scottsdale and other jurisdictions. So I think this is where, Chair Lori, you had read some updates from Maricopa Association of Governments, and I do apologize, there isn't a lot of detailed information yet about some of these things, but I will give you information on what we know so far. So PRWORA, there is a reinterpretation that does affect some of the homeless programs in Maricopa County. So that reinterpretation started in July of this year, 2025. So several federal agencies announced significant policy changes regarding how the term federal public benefit is interpreted under the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996. So as a result of that reinterpretation, the term federal public benefit, they're going to list out several programs that is going to affect this. So basically, they're saying that immigration status checks may be required for individuals accessing shelters and other federal public benefits. So this does not affect our homeless programs in the city of Scottsdale. We don't have any shelters that use federal funding for homeless programs, so we will not have to change any of our programs in terms of accepting people and intake process or helping them throughout our case management for homeless programs. We did get direction from our legal department for the city of Scottsdale after the Prop 314 came out, and they guided us to use the SAVE program for any other public benefit that we are using federal funding for, and we do run documents that we have to verify immigration status, and we are doing that. And then, so the fiscal year 2025 NOFO update, there is a recent, another recent update on that. HUD did announce that they do have intention to release this year's 2025 NOFO for the Continuum of Care programs. Again, we as the city of Scottsdale do not intend to apply for the NOFO on our own, but I do plan to attend the meeting that MAG will be hosting tomorrow for a community input session. So the city of Scottsdale Human Services does want, we want to have the input that if we do apply as the Continuum of Care, we would like the funding to go for transitional housing and outreach throughout the valley.
Sue, if I may interrupt, could you spell out NOFO?
Yes, the NOFO is Notice of Funding Opportunity, NOFO.
Okay.
And Mary's going to help me with the SB Road to Housing Act of 2025. Mary?
Good evening, Commissioners, Chair Lurie. Next slide, please. I'm going to do my best to try to explain a little bit about these three funding appropriations that are listed up on the board and part of the updates that came from the Maricopa Association of Governments. The first one, you're going to hear the terminology called ROAD. It is a new initiative. It's Renewing Opportunity in the American Dream, and this was passed by the Senate on July 29th of 2025. So just recently before the Senate and the House went on break. So this is the first legislative bill that has been introduced in over a decade. And before I start to talk a little bit about this bill, I thought I'd take a step backwards because we all know and explain the difference between appropriations and reconciliation. So we all know that the One Big Beautiful Bill was passed. And that is considered a reconciliation. In context, I like to think of it as like the president's wish list. And this is and he has proposals in it to make that bill reconcile, much like we take our checkbooks and balance the checkbook. So he's balancing the federal budget by reconciling it and saying, these are the areas I think you should cut. And so often, like in the city council meetings or when we're doing the budget appropriations here, we as departments give our wish list to city leadership. City leadership then go through and then guide us based on what's available with revenues and things like that. And that is part of what we could refer to now as appropriation. So the One Big Beautiful Bill is a reconciliation on how to make it happen, or a wish list, just like staff gives their wish list to the departments. Then city leadership and city council become what we can refer to as the Senate and the House. The Senate and the House then make appropriations based on the wish list of items. And so while the One Big Beautiful Bill is passed, there's certain items that are part of that One Big Beautiful Bill, such as the changes in Medicare that won't take impact until 2028, some of the SNAP language, and then the increase for low-income housing tax credits. Those are specifically called out in that reconciliation. Everything else that was part of that reconciliation is just a recommendation from the president. So those have to now go before the Senate and the House, and they have to make those appropriations. So it's starting at ground zero over. So that's not an automatic I know a lot of recommendations were made in terms of cuts to housing and urban development, cuts to community social services block grant or the CAP program, cuts to LIHEAP and other items like that. So we have to remember the difference as we start these discussions between reconciliation, which is the one big beautiful bill, and appropriations, which are made by Senate and the House, or staff wish list versus city council and leadership telling us what we can and cannot do based on revenues that the city has. I hope that makes sense. That's the easiest way I can explain the difference between the two. So renewing opportunity, and I am new to this today, so it's a new bill, so I will do my best. But like I said, it was passed on July 29th of 2025. It is looking at, and it is one of the most bipartisan proposals. Right now, across the nation, there are 39 move to work public housing agencies, which mean that there are work requirements associated with the housing choice voucher. And only certain housing agencies across the nation are designated as this move to work. With the road bill, it expands that network by 25. So the road bill could impact Scottsdale Housing Agency because you get designated as a move to work agency by Housing and Urban Development. In addition, it lifts the unit and sunset date for something called RAD, Rental Assistance Demonstration Project. And that's where we hear the terms, have you heard the term fair cloth limit previously? It may have come up through council discussions, but public housing agencies, with the exception of Scottsdale, I'm sure others, we don't own public housing in the sense of the projects or house or apartment complexes. That's considered public housing. And while we do own an 8-unit facility, that is actually funded by CDBG, so it is not considered public housing. And as public housing, a lot of it is older. So HUD created the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program to help us replace those old housing units. And so people are converting, and they can't increase their fair cloth limit or the number of public housing units. They just have to convert them to RAD. And I don't know if I explained that well, but I know you'll ask questions. And then implement and evaluate a multi-year demonstration for an opt-out approach to the FSS program. And that one I'm going to have to do a little bit more research to be able to explain exactly what that means. But basically, it's a wide range of provisions to boost the supply of affordable housing, improve financial literacy, and streamline the housing development process. The key components of the Act include reforms to housing counseling and financial literacy, the Rental Assistance Demonstration Program, increasing housing in opportunity zones, which allows HUD to prioritize the applicants in designated opportunity zones for competitive grants. It increases housing supply framework, which directs HUD to publish guidelines for state and local zoning and land use policies. It establishes a pilot program for grants and forgivable loans for essential home repairs and health hazard mitigations. It requires building more housing near transit and unlocking the housing supply through streamline and modernization. With that one, I will move on to education for homeless children and youth. And this one is specifically in relationship to the McKinney-Vento Act. And like I talked about before, the reconciliation bill called for this elimination, but the appropriations, or the Senate, is diverting from that and actually making a recommendation. And let me pull out the dollar amount that they're making this recommendation for. This Senate bill includes $129 million matching the current levels. So it's actually increasing funding for the McKinney-Vento, which is our homeless students, which lack a stable nighttime resident. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're on the streets. They could be on the streets, they could be in a shelter, they could be in a domestic violence shelter, or they could be doubling up with other families. And then the last one, everybody, I'm sure you guys are familiar with our THUD, Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development. And while the reconciliation bill did call for housing choice voucher to be made into a state block grant, as well as with McKinney-Vento, and the THUD bill currently diverts away from that. They are still looking, according to the Senate, I can tell you the dollar amounts based on their appropriations in July of 26, or 25, my apologies. looking at 4.1 billion for homeless assistance, 3.3 billion for CDBG. The House is recommending removing home. However, the Senate is recommending 1.2 billion in home investment partnership funds. So while there are some reductions and there are some challenges ahead of us, all hope is not lost. That concludes this presentation, and I will try to answer any questions related to those three acts.
Thank you, Mary and Sue, with trying to digest some very complicated materials. With that, looking around, questions, comments? Jeff?
Very good presentation. Thank you, Mary and Sue. I particularly appreciated the explanation between a reconciliation and appropriation, which, based on what you're saying about road, CY, and THUD, gives me a touch of hope based on the Reconciliation Act. So that's great. Appreciate it.
Let's get Commissioner Quilley.
Oh,
Yes, you.
shall we? I remember him. Thank you very much. Thanks. Another great episode of the Mary and Sue Show. I also wanted to give a shout out to Sue and Eddie DeRazzo for coming down for the Tucson Pima Collaboration to End Homelessness General Council meeting. They drove 2 hours down, stayed 2 hours, and drove back. That's quite the turnaround. Hopefully got something out of it. There was a couple of topics referring to the continuum of care. I made a bunch of notes. We got a few shots of some slides, so hopefully there'll be something that we can take into consideration. There were 30 plus agencies there today, so hopefully we can pull something out of that. No other comments. Do appreciate the backgrounder. Mary, thanks so much, as always.
Oh, Sheila?
Thank you. Wonderful presentation, both of you. Really chock full of information, so I'll have to digest it at length. I would just like a little clarification on the acronym PRWORA. I got personal responsibility, work opportunity, and then I fell off the ledge.
I don't have it memorized, Chair Lurie, members of the commission. I do have it written down here. It is Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act of 1996.
Great, thank you so much. And I have to echo the comment about a fabulous analogy between the reconciliation and the appropriations. It was really beautifully done.
I concur with my fellow commissioners. You all are doing a great job trying to clarify a lot of complicated moving parts at this point in time. The question that I had relates to the timing of the federal budget process. I know, and thank you on the appropriation reconciliation distinction. So the president has proposed, his budget is out for all of us to see, for his fiscal year 2026, beginning October 1st of this year, the elimination of CDBG funding and the collapsing of all of the public housing programs into one sort of state block grant program, as Mary referenced, with a 43% funding reduction for all of those programs, including in those programs are our Housing Choice Voucher program, which we know we have around 550 households in our community taking advantage of right now. So when do we anticipate that Congress will review and appropriate funds for the 2026 budget? When will all of these moving parts actually become a reality? I'm assuming over the next 3 months.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, I know the House and Senate are on summer break. I believe they come back in September. The goal their ideal goal is that the budget will be appropriated by September 30th to take effect October 1st. If that does not take place, there are two options that can occur, both of which you guys are familiar with. Number one, a continuing resolution to stay at the same funding level. I will tell you that the Housing Choice Voucher Program is funded on a calendar year, so currently we are funded through December of 2024. CDBG is funded from July 1st to June 30th. They are funded based on our fiscal year, so we are fully funded through June 30th of next year. The other option, if they cannot make a determination in addition with the appropriations, is to do a government shutdown. And both of those impacts our office because we cannot seek reimbursement. It will impact the CAP office and other offices. So we're standing strong until we are provided more information, and we are a little bit in the dark as to, until they come back from summer break, what's going to happen.
Thank you very much, and please continue to keep us informed as more details materialize. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we will, I concur, we'll wait for further guidance and further updates and hope for the best when Congress reconvenes in September. Just for a point of clarification, the money that the CAP office uses for rent and utility assistance, does that flow through the continuum of care?
Chair Lori, members of the commission, no, it doesn't flow through the continuum of care. It does come from Maricopa County.
So they're direct county funds, not like a block grant that comes to the county through the federal government?
So Maricopa County does apply for several different funding sources, and we do use CSBG, TANF, things like that. There's several different funding sources that we do get from Maricopa County, and they apply for those funds.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That brings us up to, oh, yeah.
One more item, if I may, Mary or Sue. This is very complex stuff. And I was wondering if you could supply us with some talking points as I want to reach out to our elected representatives about the appropriations process. And where does all this fall under? So if I write Dear Senator X, I want you to support what? What element of the reconciliation bill, what department, it's very vague.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, I will probably have to seek direction on that from our government affairs department on specific things that you could say. I'm not able to give political
No, I'm not
insight
asking for political, but
those specific things. I think it's important as we advocate and as you advocate for human services to focus on the acronym THUD, which is Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development. So when you're reaching out, you definitely want to see the appropriations that Senate is putting forward. While they are reductions, they are not as severe as listed in the reconciliation. CSBG is another talking point that you could bring up. That is something that impacts the CAP office. LIHEAP, although I do believe, and don't quote me on this, I'm going to have to look because the one big beautiful bill that passed, I'll have to do a word search to see if LIHEAP is specifically called out in the bill that was passed. If it's specifically called out, then it's decided. If it's not specifically called out in that one big beautiful bill, then it's in appropriations. So when you Google the one big beautiful bill and you do the word search, you'll find things like Medicare. So that's already been decided. You'll find things like, I don't know if SNAP's in there, I just know Medicare's in there. I know if you Google the word housing, LIHTC is gonna show up. So that's where I would suggest starting. I would definitely look at the one big beautiful bill and do some word searching in there. regarding some of our programs like CSBG, LIHEAP, HEAF, SNAP, Medicare, Medicaid, and housing and urban development.
That's great guidance. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Sue. So we're close to the end. This is a point to identify future agenda items that anyone wants to raise. I will say that based on our schedule, the August 28th meeting, we will, oh, by the way, we will be at the Community Design Studio and not here at the Kiva. We'll have a director's report and currently funded application presentations, accomplishments fiscal year 24-25. Something I have reached out to Mary about, not for the August 28th meeting, but for a future meeting, is I think many of you have probably seen the executive order out of the White House about homelessness. And I'd like us at some point to address how that impacts the city response regarding homelessness. The only other thing on my mind was the funding process orientation. I believe that's scheduled for September 18th.
Chair Lurie, members of the commission, yes, September 18th.
Okay.
So I will have, we're, well, 10 to 13 days from releasing our NOFA. And with that NOFA, we'll include the link to the live Teams application. So that will be sent out to all of you as well as an invitation to join us. I will also solicit some of you to potentially speak during the application orientation as well.
Very good. Okay, thank you. Any other agenda items anyone wants to raise for future meetings? Okay, so with Lee, Commissioner Cooley, can't see you.
I'm here. I have no future agenda items at this time.
Okay, so with that, could I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
All right, and a roll call.
Chair Lurie,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jung,
Yes.
Commissioner Jameson,
Yes.
Commissioner Shear,
Yes.
Commissioner Cooley,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowe.
Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Stay cool, everybody.